the big anchor bolts. Had to burn all them right off the top of the piers. And
then when you took it up here to the Kelley, you just reversed the process?
Yeah.
And how deep were the anchors on the under the legs?
The east side of the gallows frame, which we go up in the yard, I'll show you. 40-foot hole with a shelf. Okay. They dug that hole at least 10 foot square. 40 feet down, then a shelf off to the side. Come down here and then shelved. You brought railroad rails down and you put them down in that shelf and tied them all, they welded them and then tied rebar across them all the way up. Then you brought the long rails down and they poured cement, cut that hitch, and the bottom of the rails up about that high with cement, and they were all standing up there, the railroad rails. Then you, when that cement dried, you come in there and you started rebarring all the way up. Vertical, horizontal, all around that. Then when you got close to the top, then come the big anchor bolts. That big around, 12 foot long. They were put right down in there and they were put in with an instrument. They were shot in with a transit, an instrument. And then they collared them right over the top of the rails. They put wooden form right over the top of them rails. They collared them so they could not move, wired them and everything. Then poured the cement all the way up.
Now did you guys do that work too?
Yeah, the carpenters and the machine, we did all the rails and all the rebar, and the machinists set the bolts, and the carpenters built the frame over the top. But that's the ones at the Lexington. Frank Hayes and I were digging. We were on laborers then. We were laboring. Him and I were partners, and we were down there 40 feet. No, not that. We were maybe 20 feet down, and then we put the shelf in. And we had to throw the dirt from here to a platform to get it out of there. And Ray Leif was the foreman of the mine, and he comes up to us, you know what he said? He said, Jesus Christ, I'll pay you guys good wages to go down the mine. He said, you want to pay you later? Who's that now?
Later. Okay, what is that now?
The Never Sweat.
Which one?
This one with all the stacks.
Okay, what else?
This is the main warehouse at the Kelley, or the Anaconda Company main warehouse. This head frame is the Never Sweat. This one way up the top here is the Parnell. And then you have Dublin Gulch here, or part of this is the Anaconda Road right here going up. There's the streetcar tracks. The streetcar turned, went up here and turned, proceeded up through East Woolman Street or Boardman Street, came out alongside of the Stewart fence and on up into Centerville. These people that lived in this house here was called Mack. His name was Mackey, lived right there. The man that lived in this house here, Mickey Doherty, he was a station attendant at the Anaconda, and they called him the Irish bell ringer. These houses here, Burgess lived right here where the streetcars, or no, not Burgess, Malkovich's. Malkovich's lived right where the streetcar turned to go up into to follow along towards past the Stewart. John McCoy, who lived right about this area, right in this house here, was a boss at the Badger, boss at the Mountain Con, and was one of the foremen when they built the new big Mountain Con, or the big Kelley mine. He was he was a shaft foreman. He's a great fellow. But this is all.
What about bars? Are there any bars along there?
Oh, the bar's up here. Right there at the bar.
What's that one, do you remember?
I don't, people have told you there's half a dozen different names for that bar. But to this day, I don't know what it was. But Scown's family, Jim Scown's family lived right here in this area here. And Tom Kelley, who was in the show with us, The Long Journey Home, his father and mother lived right in this house right here.
Where was the parrot shops or the parrot mine?
The parrot right here. But now, the shops and everything, there was nothing there in them days. But right there, that is the parrot right there, where that steam is coming up.
Where was the Anaconda mine?
Beyond here, behind here.
Okay.
You can see the edge of the gallows frame right there?
Yeah.
That's the Anaconda. That's the first one we took down to make way for the Kelley cave system.
What's the head frame behind the shop right there in the middle? At
Here?
the top. What's that head frame?
That's Mountain View.
Okay, and then where did the BA and P tracks cross the Anaconda Road?
Right below the switch, right there.
And then where would the pickets go up whenever there was...
Right there. This is where the shooting occurred, right here.
Which shooting was that?
When the massacre on Anaconda Road in 1917, whenever that ran the heat and everything for up at the, they call them the 9 stacks. There was 9 stacks like that right up there. Over in the Mountain Cornyard, right over here from my house, there were 6 stacks on top of the boiler room. Each mine had its own individual boiler room.
Now that mine, that stack that's in the middle, you don't know what mine that is, huh?
No, but this is a picture, and you can see there's a short head, a little wooden head frame here. Didn't all belong here at one time. I guess there was mine shafts all over the place.
Okay. Iron at the Lady of the Rockies.
All the skip pockets had to go in, all the iron, the conveyor system and everything had to go in. We worked down at, they were all, I think we worked at Kelley for almost 2 years. We just changed clothes there and everything else, just showered there. Instead of coming back here to the original, we were there in the morning.
But why did you feel it was better to be an iron worker and a ropeman as well as just a ropeman?
Oh, I don't know. It wasn't nothing better, but it was the fact that you were not afraid of height. It was just the thing. There were some guys that could not go in the air. There just was no. We had a few guys that were the greatest guys in the mine you ever wanted to see, but you couldn't get them 1 foot off the ground.
But they'd work over an 800-foot shaft, but they would.
Right, never even throw a lagging across over the 4,800-foot shaft. Throw a lagging across and walk across it, but they wouldn't put their foot on the first step of one of them gallows frames.
That's funny.
And and that's why a lot of the guys that were permanent on the mine crews, that was the fact that most of them, but nobody was immune to going down the mine. They had the coolers in the mine, they brought that cold air down the mine for the miners, You put your 3 months down a mountain con mine. It didn't make no difference who you were, what job you had before. When your turn came up, you went to the mountain con mine. Bear says, "Go to the con when 3 months are up. Give me a call." Me and Bugs, the big fellow on here, we were partners on the 40 of the con going towards the Ryan shaft. 3 months are up. They staggered you so that there'd always be. I was there, and then I had a partner by the name of Harris, Bobby Harris, who got killed. Settlement tank blew up in his garage and killed him. Him and I were partners. Well, when he got killed, they brought bugs over. I would already had 2 months in, so they brought bugs over, and then when my time was up, I left, Bugs was there, and then they brought Lefty Rundle over. Him and they were brother-in-laws. Lefty Rundle was married to Bugs' sister, but they were partners. Had two pump shaft, two pumpmen, John Kennedy and Ginger Cumba. Then we had a boilermaker and a boss. We had a boilermaker out of the shop, and then we had a boss by the name of his kid's a fireman.
And what was this, a composite crew you had?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, now, can you go back now and now the Kelley head frame came from the linen.